And welcome back to more Sonic R. So last time, we raced through the 3rd and 4th tracks, so this time, we're starting out with the final unlockable track. Radiant Emerald. So Radiant Emerald is unlocked by simply finishing each of the other 4 tracks in first place. You don't need to collect anything to unlock this stage, and interestingly enough, this is the only stage without any sort of collectibles. Beyond rings, of course, to open specific doors. There are no tokens to unlock any characters. Dr. Robotnik is unlocked by simply finishing this race in first place. We already have every Chaos Emerald, so yeah, there are no Chaos Emeralds either. It's surprisingly straightforward for the final race in the game, but it's actually kind of nice having a more leisurely level to close out the game compared to how stressful the earlier levels can be while trying to collect everything. It's almost nice getting a break from having to hunt for things, and even the complexity of this level is a bit different than the previous ones. So instead of having a ton of different branching pathways, it's actually surprisingly linear beyond the 2 ring doors. It's kind of a weird difficulty curve having one of the easier and more simple tracks be the unlockable final one. But again, it's kind of nice to get a break from the more complicated stage layouts. Visually, I feel like the stage is cool on paper, but is kind of hard on the eyes. I feel like it's trying to be Rainbow Road from Mario Kart, but the constantly changing colors of the stage, it's kind of actually disorienting a little bit. Musically, I actually like the song that's playing, Diamond in the Sky. I think part of it's because I tend to not have to play the stage very much because of not having to play it multiple times to unlock everything, so I'm not as burnt out on this song compared to like the stage 3 and stage 4 songs specifically. But with that, we're actually almost to the end of this. So yeah, overall, this is almost a little bit anticlimactic in how basic this final track is, but oddly enough, I feel like this might be the best one for multiplayer because of it being a little bit more conventional and less complicated. And with that, we have gotten first place in all 5 races. And that's it for the Grand Prix mode. So overall, that went pretty well, actually. This is definitely a game that practice makes perfect, because the first few runs of this game as practice attempts went really badly. Like, I got really turned around constantly in some of these stages. And I feel like that's kind of the big issue with Sonic R. In a way, it's a lot like Sonic Riders, where once you get the hang of the game, it's actually kind of fun, but the problem is how high the learning curve is. That's why I feel like Radiant Emerald would almost be a better starting stage because of how linear it is compared to the others. Like, if you wanted to play multiplayer, Radiant Emerald would actually be a lot more manageable by comparison, without having to worry about getting turned around by accidentally stumbling into a shortcut path or something. So yeah, The difficulty balancing is kind of all over the place with the actual tracks themselves. I do like the complexity of them and trying to actually collect as much as possible in one run. I think that's actually fun once you kind of learn the layout of the level. But before that, it can be really frustrating. I also don't know how well this game would actually work in multiplayer because, like I've said before, it kind of feels like everyone would have to know what they're doing. Otherwise, if only one person knows what they're doing, it wouldn't be that difficult for them to just kind of easily smoke the competition. I guess conversely, if everyone was equally unfamiliar with the game, that would also work out well. But yeah, I can't exactly recommend playing this game, partly because of its rarity. The Saturn version and the PC version are, what, 24, 25 years old at this point, and the Sonic Gems collection also isn't exactly common nowadays. So there's not really a great way to play this game because it has never been re-released for anything remotely modern. But for the right price, like $5, I feel like this almost would be kind of fun to try out, because it is sort of like a cult classic in a way. It is a very iconic game despite its flaws in terms of the gameplay, and I think it's worth trying at least a little bit just to kind of see what it's like, even if it hasn't exactly held up well. So yeah, I do hope they eventually re-release it, maybe even add some things, like a remake would actually be really cool. People actually got really excited because the original Team Sonic racing tees kind of reminded people of the Sonic R logo, but it ended up being completely unrelated, and that kind of disappointed people. But also, we're not quite done yet. There are still a few things I want to go over after the credits. One thing I didn't mention before is you can actually move around the R on the title screen. And I'm pretty sure a certain button actually changes the color of the R. It seems to be the Y button, by the way. So that's kind of cool. Next up, I actually want to go over the options. So as a heads up, this game does not autosave. You have to manually load and save the game every time you start up the game, so just a heads up, because when you load the game, it'll look like nothing has saved, because you have to actually go here and manually load your save every time. But let's check this out. So this is a list of best times, but it's surprisingly elaborate because it actually has separate track times for each of the time trial modes, more on that later, and for each character. So I really like that attention to detail of tracking all of the character stats separately, because different characters will have different abilities that'll make certain levels easier and some more challenging. So I do like how they're listed separately. So next up are sound options. There's not a whole lot to go over here, but you can actually turn off the vocals if you want. I feel like the vocals are part of the charm, but that is still an option along with a sound test and volume settings. And let's check this option. So there's a difficulty option, which might be good if you're going for all of the collectibles. Ghost, I assume, is for time trials. You can select the weather. Catch up, I assume, is rubber banding. Guide, I don't know what this actually does. And map, that's obviously the mini-map. You have a vertical or horizontal two-player split. But yeah, I actually don't know what this does. because I don't remember seeing any like guide features to like help you in these levels. But yeah, those are all the options. So let's move on to Time Attack. There's Normal, which is just completing the track normally, Reverse, where you go backwards, and these other two modes. We are going to start with this one, Tag for Characters. To show off something kind of cool, we'll not be playing as Tails. Instead, we'll be playing as the character who is unlocked by collecting all of the Chaos Emeralds. If you press down while highlighting Sonic, you can play as Super Sonic. And we'll be heading back to Radiant Emerald.
Ready, set, go!
So if you play as Super Sonic on Radiant Emerald, Diamond in the Sky will be replaced with the title screen theme, Supersonic Racing. So that's really cool. But this is tag mode. So instead of a race, you have to basically tag all of the other characters. Something cool when you play as any of the hidden characters is that the other characters that you'll be racing against will change to the hidden characters as well. So instead of like Tails, Amy, Robotnik, and Knuckles, we have all of the hidden characters. So that's neat. Tag mode is kind of cool. I kind of wish this was multiplayer, but this is single player only, which is kind of a shame because I think that would actually be kind of neat. To basically have like a round system of trying to tag everyone in a time limit for points, like give everyone a turn, but that also might take too long, now that I think about it. So yeah, the last opponent left is Mecha Knuckles. By the way, there are no rings in this mode, so nothing is hidden behind any of the ring doors, kind of limiting options for players to escape, actually. I say that, but I actually can't find Mecha Knuckles. Even though this is one of the more straightforward levels, I'm still having a little bit of trouble figuring out the minimap and trying to figure out where Knuckles is. I feel like visually this might not be the best stage for searching for things, just because of the visuals. I think Mecha Knuckles is at the very opposite side, sadly, so we have to make another rotation around the track. But yeah, I do like how the song changes. That's a really cool attention to detail. But yeah, overall, I do think Super Sonic is an interesting character because he has the double jump from Sonic. The main difference is, as you might guess, he is a lot faster, and actually kind of tougher to control as a result. So I actually don't really like Super Sonic in this game because he's a little bit unwieldy. I have no clue where Knuckles is. I am having the hardest time locating him for some reason. I think he keeps going on like the opposite like spirals. So like he's on a different like vertical plane, which makes it very confusing to actually read the minimap. For the sake of time, I think I am actually just going to back out though. So next up is the second time attack mode. Get 5 balloons. We'll yet again be playing as Super Sonic. And to make things a little bit easier, we'll be going to Resort Island.
Ready, set, go!
So I'll be honest, I don't like this mode because the balloons kind of blend into the background. Some of the balloon colors can be very faded and thus really hard to spot, especially because in this case we're playing as Supersonic and we're actually moving kind of fast. Supersonic is kind of unwieldy because of how fast he is, so I can't really recommend playing as him because that also scales all the AI to play as the tougher characters. This is going surprisingly well, actually. In a practice run of this, I spent like 4 or 5 minutes looking for one balloon. So yeah, overall this went pretty well so far. I say that, but we still have 2 more to find, so I probably shouldn't count my chickens before they hatch, as they say. This might be another case where we just kind of bail out because we otherwise could be here for a really long time. But yeah, because this game has pretty poor handling, I do feel like playing as slower characters, oddly enough, can be better in terms of overall maneuverability. Supersonic obviously also can go across water because he's supersonic. But yeah, overall kind of a cool bonus, but also Supersonic is so fast that I feel like he kind of breaks the difficulty balancing a little bit. And this is kind of what I was afraid of, where I have no idea where this final balloon is. Only one seems to appear at a time, which doesn't really help. So yeah, I think we are actually just going to call things here for now. Overall, this was a really fun playthrough, even though the game itself has its fair share of problems. But yeah, it was fun to revisit this. So, thank you for watching, and I hope you'll join me next time for something different.